Hey fuckers, it's Kail. I'm back with another episode, a solo episode. No guest, no Elijah, no nothing, but I'm here with updates. I'm here with some catching up. And I haven't done a solo episode in a long time. I honestly don't even remember if I've ever done a solo episode on Barely Famous. So here we are. It's sort of like Self Care Sunday, but it's working Sunday because I'm recording this episode and I'm also doing a brand shoot later today, which is really exciting because there has been in the month of March alone, March 2024, which I don't know if the stars are aligning for my birthday. I don't know if the universe is like, you know what, Kail, from here on out, it's all good things. I don't know. But this month alone has I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's been life changing. There has been so many things in the works this month already, and it's only the 10th. So I'm doing a brand shoot later to kind of get things in order for all the things coming this year. I'm super excited. I announced book club is happening. The first episode will be filmed this month, and that's only for Patreon. So I will start a Goodreads group, but the videos will be solely for Patreon. And then other than that, I just have some other things that I'm really excited. You guys are going to see them over the coming weeks. And so I'm super, super excited. But before we get into the program, which I just watched episode 1 last night, I just want to give some updates that you've been asking about on social media. The first one is the Ancestry DNA saga. I am going to do updates on that, but I want some more things to come together with my sister and potentially get my dad, if he hasn't already, I say dad, our sperm donor to take the DNA test because he did promise years ago that he would in fact take one. So now he's kind of going back on his word a little bit. So and honestly, he doesn't have to do it for me. If he's mad at me about things that I've said, or anything like that, that's fine. But I feel like he owes it to my sister. And, so I'm really hoping that he is a man of his word. That's the least he could do for us. And so those updates will come. And I feel like I'll put an expiration date on it like I do with all things. If he doesn't take it by, we'll say if he doesn't take it by the end of this year, I know that's a long time. I know that 9 months feels like a really long time, but I want to see, because I don't think my dad's in really good health either. So we need to give him some time. Because I can't, even though he promised to do this for me years ago, I feel like it doesn't mean that when Kail says jump, it means how high. Yes, I feel like he owes it to us and to my sister, but I can't expect that he's going to do it on my time. I just hope he does it for the love of fucking God, before he passes. Update on books. So we're on my March to be read list. I posted it on Facebook and my Instagram. I am on The Inmate. This is the 4th book of March. I will be starting this tonight, and I'm super excited because you guys all know that I'm a huge Frida fan. And I'm excited to say that I actually got an art copy of The Housemaid is Watching. So I currently have that in my possession. I'm very blessed to have received an art copy of The Housemaid is Watching, which is Frida McFadden's 3rd housemaid book in the series. I don't know if it's considered a series because I think you can actually read them as standalones, but they also work in a series. So excited. I got a copy too to gift to Taylor. My hairstylist got me into Frida McFadden, so I thought it was only right for me to ask. I mean, they could have said no. They could have said fuck off, but they didn't. They've been really awesome. And I said, hey, like, I would really love to gift one of my girlfriends who got me into Frida, like, if I could gift her a copy of this. And they were so generous and sent me one for her. So I will be probably adding that to my March TBR just so that I can kind of update you guys and give you some early insight, not feedback, I will give you guys some early thoughts, but I don't want to spoil it. I don't do spoilers in my reviews on Goodreads, and I'll save my rating I don't know if they want me to rate it. I'll find out from them. Other than that, I went on the Facebook group and said that I was going to Tana. I keep calling her Tana Mojo, but I don't think her last name is Mojo. I think it's like Manju or Mongo. Anyway, her and Brooke do the Canceled podcast, and I think it's so funny. So I actually had a ticket to go there, and Zach, one of my makeup artists, he texted me, was like, hey, like the meet and greet's at 4:45 or something. And I was like, oh, like I can't make it. I had a ticket for it, but I was like, I can't make it. Lincoln has a soccer game. I'll be there for like the live show or whatever. So it's like a monsoon raining here in Delaware yesterday. And I was like, okay, hey, like I'm about to leave in 10 minutes. Like, what's the parking situation like? So I can plan that out before I get there, because it's like an hour and a half, hour, 45-minute drive. And he was like, oh, you're actually gonna have to park like 5 to 10 minutes down the road, down the street, and then you'll have to walk. Mind you, it was pouring down rain. I don't know anything about Washington, D.C. I've been there like maybe 2 or 3 times. So once I learned that it was like, and then I checked the weather there, because I was like, if it's raining here, it's probably raining there, but maybe it's not raining so bad. And then Kristen sent me a screenshot of like torrential downpour at 7 p.m. And I was like, oh yeah, no. So I texted Zach and I was like, between rain and parking, I'm not coming. Like, it's going to be dark. I'm going to be by myself. I will look like a drowned rat. Like, I'm just not coming. So I hope the show was fun, and I can't wait to talk to him about it. And hopefully I'll be able to go to one of their shows at a later date, because I think that live podcast shows are so fun. I went to Caitlin Bristow's in Washington. It was either Baltimore or Washington, D.C. with Kristen a couple years ago. That one was so fun. So I wanted to see what Tana and Brooke do for their live shows, because once I got a taste of what Caitlin Bristow did at hers, I was like, oh, if mine is not on that level, I don't want it, because it was so fun, so interactive. So it was more like, podcasts are entertainment, but that was like next level. So I was like, if I can't do what Caitlin Bristow does, I don't want to do it. But also I think that she is an anomaly. So I digress. Other updates, I am trying to think right now. We have Lux's soccer has ended. We were going to play lacrosse, but we have some stuff going on, and I want to wait to the summer to see kind of how the summer plans out. He really wants to do tackle. Lincoln is playing an additional 4 weeks of indoor soccer, and then he's also in 2 leagues right now for basketball. So we're kind of just like doing all of that. Lux and Creed are both signed up for baseball. And so that'll start soon, and we're just kind of getting ready for spring. I'm excited to open my pool. I'm excited to start book club. I'm excited to do all the things. So that being said, I took notes on the program, episode 1. So I'll show you guys my notes, because I couldn't type fast enough as this show or this docuseries was happening. This is like, I took notes, and that's on episode 1. So when I initially saw the cover on Netflix, I saw like cult, whatever. So I'm thinking more along the lines of like adult cult. I wasn't thinking about children. And immediately when I realized what this was, it reminded me of what Paris Hilton had talked about the school in Utah. And if you guys remember, I had Rachel on the podcast back in, I believe, 2020 or somewhere around that time. And she had gone to the same school as Paris Hilton. I actually think I had her on Coffee Combos before Paris Hilton came out with her documentary about a school similar to this. So I thought that was really interesting that there are so many more of these schools. And I have conflicted feelings on this. And so on one hand, new parents or parents of privilege, or for a lack of better words, out of touch parents, sometimes think that their like out of control children are beyond repair, beyond their own repair, and they don't want to deal with it. Oh, this is somebody else's problem. I'll take child back in when they're no longer an issue. And I think that was a lot of what's going on here, because these schools are so expensive, and the narrator, and I'm assuming the producer of this docuseries, the program, it sounded like she had money. Like, let me not say she had money. It sounded like her family had money. Her father was wealthy, because she had gone to an all Christian boarding school prior to this, and then she went to the program. And to keep your child at a school like this, I feel like has to be comparable to like college tuition, because they're living there. So I have seen like sleepaway camps. There's one that I was really interested in that in my hometown. And for 2 weeks, it's $3,000 per child. And that's just for 2 weeks of sleeping away. So, I mean, if we're talking about cost of these programs, there was one person in episode 1 that was in this program for 3.5 years. That is absolutely insane to me and so fucking sad, because all children want, I can speak from experience, is to be loved and accepted by their parents at the bare minimum, right? Like, bare fucking minimum, love me, feed me, protect me, that's it, right? Also, when you have children, you love them unconditionally. So that means the good, the bad, the ugly. So when you feel like they're out of control, when you feel like they are just so fucking beyond, you still love them. You love them through it. You don't send them away, right? Like, people argue about sending your dog to board and train, right? For 2 weeks to get trained. So why are you sending your child, like your human being, away to these schools for months, if not years at a time, right? And you have no idea what's going on. So, right before I watched episode 1 of the program on TikTok, I saw a girl who she's now an adult, and she was talking about her experience going to like this wilderness camp. So it's a little different, but same sort of concept of out of control teen, suicidal teen, what have you, goes away and is it's therapeutic. And she basically says that often the parents will go away and stay in a hotel the night of the abduction. So their children are getting abducted against their will. They're screaming and crying, kicking for their parents because they don't know what's going on. They think that they're being kidnapped, which essentially they are. And the whole idea of the parents going to a hotel or not being around when their child is being abducted is because it's traumatizing. So my thought was, if that's traumatizing to the parent and you think that the parent will back out, what do you think it's doing psychologically to a child? Someone who is not fully developed, someone who could be stunted emotionally, could be stunted in their maturity could be stunted based on what they've been through already. We don't even know what the life circumstances are, right? And I can't get behind this, right? So they go into this building and this school is just abandoned. It's so eerie. It gives me, remember back, if you guys listened to Coffee Combos way, way, way back when I talked about going to that asylum in Pennsylvania, it used to be, for lack of better words, like an insane asylum where like I don't even know what the proper term is. Mentally disturbed mental health issues, things like that. It was an asylum, right? Abandoned, bought out or whatever, and then turned into this like haunted attraction, right? I didn't realize all that went into that. And I watched the documentary only after I went to the haunted attraction. The eerie feeling of being there and seeing it and understanding how many people suffered there was like, wow, like they could have turned this around, and instead of turning it into a haunted attraction, they could have actually used it for good. So it really pisses me off that they couldn't. Yes, it was used to torture people, and it was really, really sad. But I feel like in a way, it should have either been destroyed or turned into something good to kind of turn that around, or at least I don't really know, but that's kind of the same feeling that I got from this. They go to this abandoned school, and I don't even like to call it a school, right? This abandoned building, time capsule, birth certificates, social security cards, and then handwritten incident reports of grown teachers, adult teachers, tackling, restraining, all of those things to these students. Not only are there handwritten incident reports that are signed and dated by these professionals, but there's also security footage in like CD-ROMs, compact discs, of the security footage. And they only have security footage on the boy side. They don't have it on the girl side, which I thought was really weird. But also just to have all of that, and where are the people that are in these videos? Because can they be charged now? Like, if they have not already received punishment for the things that they did to these students, can they be charged now, especially now that there's proof? And why, when you realized that this school was going to be shut down or abandoned or what have you, why didn't the people who ran the school shred those things? Or why didn't whoever seized it, whether it was the government or whoever, when they shut it down, why didn't they destroy everything that was there? Because there are so many personal, letters to parents, letters to children, incident reports, like all of these things that are so painful. And also, on one hand, it's good, right? Because we now have the proof. But on the other hand, it's like, to keep all of that, anyone could have gotten a hold of it. And you can see that there's graffiti all over the building. So it's like people are going there to kind of go back to their past, and they're seeing, the school. So they could have, not that I would think the students would do it, but they could have, or people could be like squatters there and like take that information and use it. Like, I just feel like it was very weird. So essentially this is a prison for children. And that upsets me because we know that a lot of states in America won't charge, you have to be a certain age to be tried as an adult, or, you don't get charged as an adult at all. We know that that's, it varies by state and location. But I say that to say, if some states have laws against trying children as adults for prison, and this is worse than prison. There's a student named Quentin in this episode 1 who, he says that when he went to jail, it was worse than when he went to the school. So let that sink in. Just really, really upset. Some of the rules, there were hundreds of rules they listed out, so basically there's a level system. It's like a really sinister game, right? So there's levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, you earn phone calls with your parents. But level 3, in order to get to level 3, is virtually impossible. So you could be at this school, at this fucking prison, for months before you get phone calls with your parents. And that just seems like absolute psychological torture to me, because I have a hard time not calling my kids for a week, right? Like, when I know that Javi and I switch days or switch weeks for vacation or this, that, and the third, and I know that he's going to have Lincoln for 2 weeks and I'm not going to see him for 2 weeks. And then you know what I mean? I have a hard time not talking to him for that full 2 weeks. Like, that's hard for me. So some of these rules include not looking out the window. And if you get through the entire episode 1, you'll see in the computer lab in one of the classrooms, the computer lab is in a classroom where there's windows above the computers. So how these windows are right now, but they're above the computers, but you're not allowed to look out the window. So tell me you're trying to set me up for failure without telling me you're trying to set me up for failure. No looking out the window, no talking. You have to have your hair up and braided. So it has to be in a ponytail and braided. No shaving, no makeup, no mirrors. When you go to the bathroom, no mirrors. You have to pee with the stall door open. So boys and girls will go into the bathroom, pee, but the monitors have to go with you, and you have to keep the stall door open. No winking, no smiling. And then any little consequence, I guess, that you get is added days to your sentence. So if you're there for the entire, I don't really know how, I haven't gotten to episode 2 yet, but if you are there for, we'll say, a year, and you get all of these things against you, points against you. And that's just like the minor rules. There's not, if you're suicidal, you have to sleep with your hands, I believe she said, on your stomach or on your back with your hands out. And then you also have to sleep with your hands behind your back like this, and your face down. So, what? So if you do these things and you're getting all these points against you, it adds days to your time there. So a lot of parents send their kids there with the hope that they're going to complete the program. But what happens when you get to level 5? And so there's 6 levels. What happens when you get to level 5, but you get all these days added? Do you stay at level 5 longer? Like, how does that work? Right? Like, I think the idea, and I don't know this for sure because they didn't necessarily say it in the episode 1. I think the idea is when you have all these points against you and you have to stay longer, your parents have to pay more money. That's my guess. I don't know that for sure. There is one, the narrator, I'm assuming the creator of the documentary, her stepmother, her mother, bio mom passes away, stepmother, on the intake sheet, hand writes that she was borderline abusive with her stepdaughter. And so the school will probably hear the evil stepmother stories, but you're admitting that you were borderline abusive. So I have two issues with that. One, is everyone not a mandated reporter? Why didn't the school report that? Two, the father being married to a woman that is treating your child that horribly. What the fuck? Right? Like, what the fuck? I don't want to harp on too much more of this, even though I have several more notes. I don't want to like bore you guys with this. You guys need to watch it for yourselves because this is truly an insane, like I think it goes far more in depth than the Paris Hilton documentary that she did about the school in Utah. So I definitely think that if you guys are interested in this, go watch it on Netflix. And then I also did, I just don't want to bore you and break down every little part of episode 1 because I need to get through it as well. I did a Q&A on Instagram, and so I wanted to answer some of the questions on here because I get them on here and on Instagram, and so it's hard to, sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, didn't you see that I posted this on Instagram? But one, not everyone sees my Instagram. Two, not everyone listens to my podcast, so I understand why. I mean, I can't expect everyone to see every fucking thing, right? So I want to answer some of your questions on here. Do you have a babysitter? Your life looks so busy. Yes, I have childcare for Rio versus Valley from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. So essentially school hours. And other than that, we typically don't get a babysitter unless something like today, Elijah has a babysitter for an hour so that we could record something for Prison Brides. So no. Other than that, we have an equal partnership and Elijah takes on a lot of the responsibility for the babies so that I can do what I need to do for my older kids. And how was pregnancy after a tummy tuck? I've gained 20 pounds and my scars hurt. Oh, that's interesting. It felt really tight. So for those of you who don't know, I had a tummy tuck in 2016. I also got pregnant in 2016. So I got pregnant the same year. It felt tight, but I wasn't in pain. My scars didn't hurt. I was scared about the stunted growth. Now I will say, even though I had Lux first, Creed was so much bigger. There was an issue with his foot and he had to go to, when he was born, we took him and got him involved with the orthopedic specialist up at the Children's Hospital in Delaware because he was born with his toes touching his shin. So, I mean, the stunted growth from, I think it was just positioning. There was a lot of factors at play. Positioning. He was really long. He was 22 and a half inches long. He was 9 pounds. So there was a lot of factors at play and just not having, because your muscles are sewed together, right? So I will say that. The rest of my babies, no issue. How do you find the time to read? Okay, this one is something I get on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the podcast. People seem to think that I just like read throughout the day, and yes and no. I take my book literally every fucking where that I go. It's in my purse, it's in my bog bag, which by the way, if you guys don't have a bog bag, go fucking get one. They look ugly, but they're practical, and they have inserts so that you can like divide things up. They have these little trays that you can set on there. So you can this is the instructions. Turn your bag into a tray. So like if you have like snacks or you want to put something on there, like a Stanley, go get a bog bag. Where was I? Where do I read? I take this everywhere. So if I get to school, pick up early and I'm sitting in the car pickup line, doctor's waiting rooms, at night before I go to bed is a big one. Sports practices, if my kids don't need like my immediate attention at practice, like I wouldn't do it at a game, but if they don't want me to watch the practice, I'll sit there and read because they don't need me. They have their coach. I also recently, if I'm really, really invested in a book, like the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, towards the end of the book, I ended up buying the audiobook because I had a long drive. So I was going to be in the car for like 3 hours there and back. I ended up listening to the rest of it because I was so invested and I had to get through it. It was so good. So I also recommend that if you're someone in the car, if you're someone like me that's in the car a lot, highly recommend audiobooks if you can. I even when I do audiobook, I still read because I just think that you get like better, depending on the audiobook, I guess, because the Seven Husbands was really good. But I just read the way I used to be, and I read about half of it, like with my eyeballs. And then again, had to go to Lincoln's soccer game yesterday where I finished it and listened to it. I hated the audiobook. Like I absolutely hated it. And so it really depends, but that's an idea. If you're looking to get into reading, but you literally don't have the time, do audiobooks, because I feel like it's better than scrolling on your phone, listening to crap. Like, you know what I mean? Podcast, audiobooks, something that's going to inspire you, just make you feel better. I truly stopped listening to music. I have no, like, obviously I know songs, but like I hardly watch TV. I saw the program was on. I only got through episode 1, but I have to like make time for that. And then the music is only when if my kids are in the car, I don't listen to my audiobooks usually because they don't care. And some of them, it's just not appropriate content. But those are some ideas for where you can read. And if you are scrolling on your phone, you have time to read. So that's the other part of it, is like, I know one of the kids' dads was concerned that I was like neglecting my kids to read. But it's really not that difficult to find time. Let me not say that, because I've noticed that people that have less kids than me are finding a hard time. I would say edit that out. Especially before bed. Instead of watching TV, instead of scrolling, replace it with reading. Bring a book with you wherever you go, or a Kindle. There's a solution. Start there. If you could only read a couple minutes a day, try that. And then slowly increase your time to where you want to be, right? Like I only set my yearly goal for 24 books, and I'll tell you where I'm at right now just by simply replacing unhealthy habits for more positive habits. I have read 18 books so far. 19 books out of my 24, and it's only March 10th. So you guys can do this. I promise. I really, really, really promise. How is my eye surgery? And then how is Elijah's vasectomy? So I will say that the LASIK, I don't think could have gone better than it did. I feel like I was a really good candidate for it. So let's start there. Make sure that if you're not sure and you go if you go have a consultation for LASIK, make sure if you are still unsure, you go get a second opinion, because you don't want to be someone who, you don't want to be someone who's like an okay candidate and then you end up you're not happy with your results. If you are not like the ideal candidate, I would say don't do it, only because it's your eyes. I was virtually a perfect candidate for it. I have medical anxiety. So I did take 2 5 milligrams of Valium right before my procedure. And once that set in, I went through with the whole thing. I think it took 10 minutes from start to finish for the actual procedure itself. I will say that you will smell burning flesh when the laser is going over your eyes. They keep something open. They keep something like a suction sort of. It doesn't hurt. You don't feel pressure. It's not one of those things to keep your eyelids open. But with the Valium, you're like, you don't even care. So I will say that you'll smell something. My procedure was at 3:30. I was home by 5:30, just because we had stuff to do. I wore sunglasses out of the place, and I took a nap. I woke up around 8 p.m. and I could see just fine. And I could see just fine before that. I could see, it felt like it looked like it was a little bit underwater at first, but by the time I woke up from my nap at 8, I could see the entire house clearly. I wake up in the morning, I see clearly. Since having my procedure, which I believe was the last week of February. I think it was the 29th. So I'm 10 days post-op, really. Something like that. I'm like 2 weeks. I'm in the 2-week range, right? And my only complaint is that I do have dry eyes, which they told me was to be expected. So for some people, that can be a long-term situation and lifelong. For others, it is only a couple weeks after the procedure. Even when I don't feel dry, I put eye drops in just so that I don't get dry. I have like a fear of getting dry. So I have no complaints. I can see. My vision is, I think, 2015 now. And yeah, like I said, I feel good about it. As far as Elijah's procedure, He said it was like a 15-minute procedure. He did not get put to sleep for it. He was awake, and he doesn't do well with needles. And so he doesn't love the anesthesia situation. But he did say that there was, I believe he said there was 3 shots on each side. And there were some parts were slightly more painful, but overall it was tolerable for him. And I don't know if he is just like a suck it up and don't say anything kind of person. He has to be, because he only rested for the first day. Like, he never, and I will say that one of my good friends was a coach for Lincoln, like as a football coach for Lincoln a couple years ago. He had a vasectomy and showed up to practice every single day that week. So on one hand, if you're able to spoil your husband, your partner, whatever, after they get a vasectomy, and you're able to spoil them and cuddle them and do all the things, do it. If I could have, I would have. If we had less children in the house and we didn't have all the things that that we had to do, I would have. He could have stayed up in the bed for a week. I don't care. However, he, other than saying they were sore, he did not complain. So, and I don't know if that's just the type of person he is. I don't know if he was in more pain than he let on. But he made it look like a cakewalk. So I will say that. Now, one of our good friends who lives in Elijah's house did a vasectomy. He got put to sleep. So he paid the extra money to literally be put to sleep. And I don't remember what he said his recovery was like, but he also, I don't know if he was like laid up afterwards. I'm not sure, but Elijah was a fucking trooper. I don't know. Listen, I don't know. So everyone has a different experience. Everyone has different pain tolerance. Everyone has, you know what I mean? They all have their own thing, but he was a trooper. He did really well. It was short. It was quick, and TMI, but I'm 99% sure he has to ejaculate 40 times within the next 12 weeks. So good thing we're both fixed. I don't know. And on that note, please submit more dating profiles, because we haven't done those in a long time. And I feel like we need to get back into our regular scheduled programming with the really funny and absolutely vile dating profiles. So if you have them, send them. You can email them, or I'm pretty sure email is the best way to do it, because if you try to submit them to the Facebook group, we can't approve them, because then everyone will see them before I read them. So try to email them if you can, or submit them to my personal. No, you know what? I'm not even going to say don't submit them to my personal Instagram, because sometimes I see them and sometimes I don't. But other than that, I will keep you guys updated on the exact date of Patreon book club, and I'll probably try to launch the Goodreads group at the same time as that. So let me know what you guys are reading. Don't forget to rate and review on iTunes and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And I will see you guys next week. See ya.